Well, my name's Ewan Archer and I'm the head gamekeeper here at Kinveachy, which is part of Seafield and Strathspey Estates. Kinveachy sits here in Strathspey. It's about 30,000 acres. It's a mixed use upland estate, fairly traditional land use with farming and forestry. It's also a special protection area for Capercaillie. Well, we are expanding our native woodlands here. We have more than enough habitat in great quality and in great condition. But sadly what we don't have is a response from our woodland grouse, our Capercaillie or our black grouse. We're in continual decline, which is very sad and frustrating. So what we have to do is look through not only our habitat work, but we have to look into, and have been looking into, predation and the effects of predation on these different species in the valley here. And whilst we do control foxes and crows, we have found the expansion in range of pine martens and the rise of numbers of pine martens. That's had an adverse effect on our Capercaillie here.
My name is Frank Law. I've worked here on Seafield and Strathspey Estates for 47 years. I remember the first pine marten in this area was 1978, killed on the old A9 just south of Aviemore. Until then, we hadn't seen one. I picked this beast up and showed it to the head keeper at Castle Grant, who had never seen one, and his father had never seen one, and they'd been keeping all their lives. And there's been a real expansion throughout the range. Well, most forest tracks have got marks of pine martens on them.
My name is Cathy Fletcher. I'm a research assistant with the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust. The most recent report suggests that Capercaillie could go extinct within 20 to 30 years. So it is a huge urgency that action is taken to help this species, to improve its productivity so that there will be birds in the future in this part of Scotland.
As we know, capper numbers, the number of Capercaillie in Scotland has shrunk right back into the sort of national park, more or less. And at this time where there's somewhere between 400 and 1,000, but maybe closer to 400, I don't think there's any room for complacency. So as practitioners, people were working with capper, doing the brood counting, the let counting, out in the forest, seeing them every day, we told the powers that be in SNH as it was then, the RSPB, that something was going desperately wrong. And they keep telling us that we had no science. Where is your science? Where's your science? It wasn't up to gamekeepers to produce science, it was up to the scientists. Anyway, now all the studies have shown, and there is science to suggest that foxes, pine martens, crows, etc., possibly badgers too, are having an impact. And now that we've got that science, it seems incredible to me that these organisations, whether it be the Forest Commission, SNH or RSPB, are swithering about whether we should control these things. The science is now there. The science that they asked for all along is there.
So that we know forests that have the best breeding success have the lowest levels of crows and pine marten abundance indices. And this means that management of the predators is an important part of the recipe to help improve breeding success. At the moment, corvid control and fox control is an option for estates, but currently pine martens are legally protected. But if we want to improve the situation for Capercaillie, we need to look at the best ways to reduce the predation pressure, and that includes investigating how best to reduce the pressure coming from protected species.
So the biggest challenge that we've got with Capercaillie is keeping them alive at the moment and stopping them going extinct for a second time. The goals are to get them through this difficult stage by using all means that we can and getting them back to numbers where we feel comfortable with them, that we can then try experiments with taking the foot off the gas as far as predators go. But now's not the time. Let's get back to, at one stage there was an aim with the biodiversity group to have 5,000 Capercaillie back in Scotland. Wouldn't that be great? Then we could think about, fiddling about with predator control or whatever, but now's not the time. The goal at the moment is to keep them in Scotland and see them into the future. When we asked all the residents in the village, they pretty well all agreed that they would like to see Capercaillie here for the grandchildren, and it's not going that way just now.
Well, the situation that we're in now is pressing and one of urgency. The Capercaillie are dropping, and before they get to a level which is completely unsustainable, one that we can't get back out of, I think the only way out of it is for us to trial, is for an estate like us to trial a pine marten removal, and try and find that balance in the way that we do with other predators like foxes. We always have foxes on the land here, although we reduce the levels of the numbers of the foxes so that we can lamb sheep, so that we can have waders, so that we can have capercaillie and red grouse. What we're trying to have is a balance, and that's all we're talking about with pine martens. We're not talking about getting rid of them, we're talking about finding a balance within this landscape.
Capercaillie are a fantastic woodland species, and they are part of our woodland community, so we really don't want to see them vanish in Scotland, and hopefully management going forward will reverse their decline so that they're still here for future generations.